G'day, welcome back to Fading Margins, and welcome back to this, my study. It's a bit of a tip. There are too much kit in here and too many books, but I can't bear to part with either, so we'll just have to make do and mend. I was thinking it was about time I did a pocket knife video, and I don't want to break all my SAK fanciers' hearts, but this is not about Swiss Army knives today. The knives I want to talk about are what I would call the folded folders. And that is the Mercators. Are we getting that? There we go. The Kaufmann Mercator from the 1870s, and of course the famous, if not infamous, Douk from Thiers in France from the 1920s. And the reason I call them folding folders is because the handles are made from one piece of folded steel, which makes them very compact, very flat, perhaps not great for binding up on, but a very elegant solution. I like them very much. The problem with both of these is that they're not, strictly speaking, street legal unless you've got a reason for carrying it. So the Mercator, as I said, was developed by a man called Kaufmann in the 1870s. And he named the knife a Mercator, which is Latin for merchant, so it's a merchant knife, if you like. Or perhaps he was naming it after the chap, not Geraldus, or Gerard Mercator, who was a geographer who came up with the famous map, which rather makes Europe look bigger than it is, and Greenland smaller. Right? But this one is not only too long for everyday UK use, it also has a lock. It's a very, very effective knife. This is the stainless steel version. I got this one from Uncle Ray from Ray Mears. At the time, he was saying that this was the shop was advertising these as an exclusive. I don't know if that colour is still exclusive to Ray Mears' shop, but they're very playful. They've got everything you'd want on a knife. They're very simple. It's a half spring, about halfway back, but it's nice and solid. There's no movement. I hate wiggle, and as you all know, but this doesn't suffer from any of that. And they've been making them for, as I say, since the 1870s. They were known as the Kaiser knife. They were made famous in America because the GIs came back from the First and Second World War, and they often brought these back with them. Sometimes they're erroneously called a trench knife, but they're not. Now I find this a fabulous tool for working meat, for boning, for basically anything where you're not going to have to close your fist up. I mean, unless you're going to wear gloves. Making feather sticks, carving, well, you could do it, I suppose, but they're just very, very narrow. And because they're nicely finished. I mean, there's nothing going to cut you. But it is going to dig in. But I like them very much. Now the counterpart, of course, is the French Douk. These are from the 1920s. The guy that developed these, I don't know if you can see the little, there he is, you can see the little Douk man there. Douk is a sort of mythical figure from Melanesia. He developed these for the French Melanesian market, and they didn't go down very well because apparently it's the Douk is a guy that goes around frightening people. It's like the god of doom or something. I don't know exactly. But again, folded. Perhaps not quite as finished. These are meant to be mass-produced, sold cheaply. They're not that cheap anymore compared to say a Chinese-made, bone-handled pocket knife. But they are something special. This one's, again, you've seen this one before. I use this for a picnic down by the river, and again, they're very, very. It's a full flat grind, very, very effective. Takes a sort of same sort of edge as an Opinel or something like that. It's C75 carbon steel on this one, which I like very much, and there's not much you can't do with it. Provided unless you're going to wear gloves. But this is a slip joint. Doesn't make it any more amenable to being carried every day in this country. because it's too long. And I have looked at ways of sort of modifying it, of taking the edge, the front off a little bit and all the rest of it, and it just doesn't work. So you're kind of stuck. Well, you're not exactly stuck. Let's do the Mercator first. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I've been, to use the expression, rocking this little fella for weeks. I swapped out, I don't do a strict rotation anymore. I've got a bit chilled about it, and I just pick what I fancy. This morning I rotated this one out. This one went back in the bag. This is what you might call the baby Mercator. This is a slip joint. This is legal. It's a sub 3 inches, but you get plenty of length. They're using the full measure, and these are all the Mercators now are made by Otto Messer in Zillingen, so you know you're getting a good product. Again, C75 carbon steel on this one, but they come in carbon and in stainless, which is really nice. And it's I don't know what the stainless is, but it's a decent stainless, and it takes a really nice edge. And they're very useful, you know, because you've got enough length of handle, got a long hand, wide palm, but there's enough length of handle. I mean, I wouldn't want to do heavy work with it, but you can pretty much do boning, all sorts of stuff, and I have done with these, cutting fruit, cartons, whatever, you know, just day-to-day stuff. This would have been a really good tool to do that squirrel with. It would have been perfect, or the big one, that sort of thing. And indeed, in New Zealand, not that I've been to New Zealand despite my accent, it's people forget it's a long way between the two. In New Zealand, hunters, they absolutely, especially possum hunters, they absolutely love these things. Very, very popular. The Douks on the full size one, they do this one, which is a spear point, which I think is really pretty, except I don't like the chromed handles. So the handle's identical. Got a little squirrel on it. Let's see if I can show it to you. Get my hand out of the way. There you go. You can see a little squirrel climbing up the tree. As I say, spear point, again in carbon steel. Again, too big for every day. But yeah, great. Love it. So what do you do if you want a Douk? Well, you can get smaller ones. This is called the El Baraka. So the blade design, the scimitar blade, is exactly the same. Again, you've got these chrome handles from infolded steel, or you can have the small squirrel like that, and spear point, and that's every bit. I think that's slightly bigger than the Victorinox, say the Camper or something. It's a bit slightly bigger blade. So you're getting plenty of length in the blade, and of course you can get a Douk with a Douk man on it. I think I gave one to my mate, so I've got one somewhere. Just hang on a sec. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I've left it in the bag, in the tool bag here. Well, it doesn't look like it. I think it's a case of Steve gifted it to somebody and hasn't replaced it with his spare. But what I will say about the little Douks. Right, as I say, the steel is good, the grind is good. It takes a great finish, really lovely finish, like a lethal finish. It's terrifying. The handles compared to the Mercators are short. I'll show you. And we're only talking about the little slip joints here now, right? But if you have a look, you can see. If I line them up, you can see that you're getting an extra, I don't know, nearly a full centimetre or half a centimetre off the back on the Mercator, which allows you to fill your hand. With the Douk, it's kind of short, so unless you've got a little tiddly hand, it's buried up in here and doesn't feel quite so safe. That said, for lightweight work, that squirrel I was talking about earlier, all sorts of things, they're great. And I really like them. I'm very pleased. I did a video, you may have seen it. My wife and I went away and I just got these. I was fiddling with them, so I've been carrying them and playing with them and doing stuff with them, and they're great. So if you wanted a Douk, or if you wanted a Mercator, and you just felt, well, I haven't got the readies to buy the big one because I'm not going to be able to carry it, and I want to stay strictly within the law, but I want to carry it every day, then I'm pleased to say that there are alternatives. There's the little one, and these are very reasonably priced. I think this one you can get for about £25 posted, I think, or the Mercator. So there they are, guys, the folded folders, and I would recommend them to anybody who wanted one. Take your pick if you want stainless or you want carbon, and you won't go far wrong. So guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll get outdoors. Actually, I was outdoors yesterday, and I will append a short video that's a little snatch of the countryside we got to see before I put the kettle on and brewed up a great cup of tea and enjoyed a fantastic sandwich and a nice muffin. My mate's wife can cook muffins. Wow. All right, so thank you, Mrs. W, for your cooking, and I will catch you all on the next one. Godspeed. Bye-bye.